Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Kinda Hot, Kinda Healthy. Happy New Year. This is our first guest episode in 2026, which feels sickening to say, but it is a returning fan favorite, Matty, Mateo Durkin, longtime friend of Allie, new friend of Maddie.
New
The
husband of
worlds have
Maddie.
collided. The worlds have collided. And we're super excited. I'm so excited for this interview because we always like bring the high vibes and like the three of us together to just insanity. Like we live for that. Before we jump into the episode, we're gonna do, pop culture. We're gonna talk about mindset. He's run a million marathons. We want to talk about like endurance mindset. Is there anything you want to let the new people know? If you guys are new, if you are here because of our interview today, is there anything you want them to know about you, about us?
Well, sorry, my mind was like blanking. About us, about kind of hot, kind of healthy. We are just two gals. We are just two gals that became best friends by coercion. One of us struggles with saying words sometimes, and the other one corrects us. You can tell which one is which.
One of us may interrupt the other. I do it out of love. I identified myself. Um, I
Um,
can't.
but what was I gonna say? But we love to connect the two worlds as health coaches of reality TV and health and women empowerment. And our goal is to create this space, this community for women to be able to relax, have fun, feel like you're chit-chatting with your girlfriends, but also learning some things about your health because at the end of the day, we are health coaches. And we do
Yes.
love talking about reality TV and bringing on guests like Maddie today, but every month we have on a different guest. It could be from health to tarot card reading to uh manifesting to all different types. So our goal is to make this space a community for women to grow, to learn, to have a laugh, to maybe cry. And you get an episode every week from us. And we do have ads. And by listening through the ad entirely full, we are going to be able to bring you guys more than one episode a week. So we really appreciate you guys listening and sharing your episodes with your girlfriends.
Yeah, it is your charity work of January is to listen to our ads, but something that we really like to bring to the podcast is guests that are interesting conversations, that are people we really want you guys to be able to experience. We're never gonna bring on like somebody that we're just like, oh, they might be interesting. No, we go through and we investigate and we find the people that are going to, give you a laugh. They're gonna teach you something. Like I feel like we've had so many amazing guests on in 2025 that opened and just like made me aware of different things, and like I feel as an individual, I my the trajectory of my like life was changed by a handful of these guests, and it's like just super cool to think about because if we feel that way, well shit, I hope y'all feel that way when you guys are listening to it too. So yeah, it's just we're a good place. We're a good place to just chill. I have my iced coffee today because it is a rare. You can't see it. It's keying out. There we go. It is not a rarity. It is New England weather. It is like going to be a high of 50 today. It's December 19th as we're recording this, and it's raining. I am not happy. I am not happy. I wanted it to be my winter wonderland. So I made an iced coffee because I was like, well, if it's warm, I guess I'll have an iced coffee.
We just had 2 days of the warmth and now we're back to cold. And it was when I was walking home from the gym, it was like snow storming and I had
Oh,
to have my hood up.
really?
Yeah, so back to the warm drinks for me.
Oh, Jesus. Um, yeah, I feel like I tend to be like that stereotypical like New Englander where it's like it's freezing in my iced coffee. But it really does just taste good. Like and if you
Hmm.
got the heat on in the car, you got the heat on at the house, a cold beverage is nice because you're
Hmm.
warm. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
that's enough of the coffee talk. We're just gonna stop right here because we will keep going. We, as in me, I'm Allie. That's my good friend Madison over there. Full
Not
government.
the government name.
Not the full government. Wait, what's your middle name?
I've told you before.
Is it
Elena.
you? I swear to God, you've never told me before.
Oh wait, what's yours?
Exactly.
Okay, what
Yeah,
is
I don't
yours?
I don't think we've ever breached that. It's the most classic like white girl middle name. I'll give you a
Okay,
guess.
Nicole.
Marie.
Oh, that's my mom's middle name.
Yeah, everybody and their mother is has middle name Marie. I swear you've never told me your middle name because I would remember that because that's like beautiful and unique. Like I feel
Oh,
like
thank you.
I've never like middle names, I feel like they kind of go in like a rotation. Like you got
Uh-huh.
everybody, you're checking off a box, but
Uh-huh.
slay. Yeah, I
Do you
like to
think
full
it
government you. Definitely.
I wonder if in 2026 I should do a rebrand and go by Elena.
Oh my God, that would be so weird. That would be crazy. I guess like meeting new people you could, like that could be your brand, but
Hmm.
that would be so crazy. I mean, like, yeah, I would respect that because that's a beautiful name, but also I also call you Madison and you don't necessarily totally enjoy that. But
I do not.
I love a full government. You can't even full government me because like I like my name is short. Like I don't have my name is a nickname for people.
Allie Marie.
Well, Jesus, I feel like my mother's yelling at me. And with that, we will shut the F up. Listen to the ads. It's 30 to 60 seconds. We thank you. We acknowledge your act of charity during this
Hmm.
holiday season, and we will see
Hmm.
you guys inside the episode. Bye. We just had a gossip session that y'all are not lucky enough to get. Matty Durkin, my Mateo, my Matt, my oh Captain, my Captain.
My husband.
You're here. Oh my gosh. We are having the time of our lives on this Friday. You you are our pop culture king. I wanted to talk about a couple of things, but like what's going on in the world? I know end of year is a lot. What's going on in your life right now? What are we doing?
Yeah, no, it's well, first of all, it's so great to be back and to see my gals. I wish it was in person,
Ugh.
but I guess that the Zoom and the pod will do for the time being. Allie, I probably will see you at some point over the holidays when I'm back in Massachusetts. But
Of course.
yeah, no, it's been great. I mean, 2025 has been a year, honey. I will tell you that personally,
You just
professionally.
ran a marathon not that long
Yeah,
ago.
I have.
I have.
But
You're training
yeah,
for London.
yes. Yeah, no, doing that and I work in fundraising. So Q4 is like kind of like our Super Bowl where I probably raise like 65% of our budget. And, where I work for an international humanitarian organization called Concern. So like we used to receive a lot of funding from the US government through USA, which was defunded at the beginning of the year from the current administration. So it's definitely been a roller coaster ride, but our donors were so supportive this year. So it's great, but we have our small but mighty team. So we're just getting to December 31st and just trying to get as much. So but this is like the highlight of my week is being able to hang out with you guys because I just was like,
Mm.
I'm like, you know what? I have an hour just to sit with the gals so we can yap because we all know we love
Yes.
to yap. But other than that,
We love to
super
yap.
Yeah.
grateful like for a job and to help with being home with family soon and just like I know that end of year for a lot of jobs is crazy. So I'm there with you and
Yeah.
so with you girls.
Yeah. And we're just here to give them a good time. We are here for a good time and a long time,
Mm,
but mostly a good time. So,
yes.
we had a couple of things on the docket. We are going to cover some
Yes.
pop culture. We want to cover also like you are an endurance athlete. I want to talk about the mindset. I know Maddie was super into that as well, of like just kind of like what the mindset takes for that. But we also want to talk. Okay, you're in New York. You're living your best
Yes.
New York minute life. When it comes to like Bravo and pop culture, I want the listeners in like middle America to like kind of get an experience. Like, are you rubbing shoulders with like our favorite people like that we're watching on like Summer House or things like that? Because new season of Summer House is coming out. And there's also like a spin-off of Summer House called what's it called? In the City or
Something, yeah.
the
I guess I
City?
almost just said like Make It New York, which was the original Next
Make it
Gen.
in
But
New
yeah,
York.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I do know that like Kyle Cooke and Lindsay Hubbard and a bunch of the cast are
Yeah.
doing a spinoff in New York. But yeah, no, it's yeah, you see people all the time, whether
Yeah.
Bravo celebrities, just going about their day. So
Does it feel
it's
weird? Like, does
interesting.
it feel parasocial? You're like, I see you on my television.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember one time, I was like, it was probably like my like second month living in New York 3.5 years ago, and I was walking down, and Sarah Bareilles was in the Broadway production of Into the Woods, and I'm like walking
Yeah.
down the street, and she's like, it was like probably 5:30, so right before she went on, and she's like walking with her dog, who's a Frenchie, and I have a Frenchie at home, and for those of you guys who have Frenchies, know they're the best, but they are such assholes. They will like, and she's like, "Come on, let's go, hurry up!" Like walking with the dog, and I'm like, they're just like us.
Celebrities, they are just
Just
like
like
us. Oh my
Yeah,
God. So I know you were starting your Summer House journey. Maddie and I have both watched Summer House, and I think it's so interesting. This happens with a lot of Bravo shows. Like the start of it is so iconic and like a timepiece because like
right.
you have the fashion is just like so chuggy and you have like especially with Summer House have you like you've watched a little bit of season one, right?
Yeah, I started season one, and of course, I watched like the infamous
Yeah,
crossover with Vanderpump Rules
with
years
Vanderpump,
ago.
of
Yeah,
course.
but
But they
just
like
just
wake
overall,
up at like 4:30 a.m. on the Monday. They get back to the city. Like I want to go back to that routine because that was insane to watch. The reason I bring this up is because I need to hear your personal hot take on Kyle Cook and Amanda Batula because you did you hear it through the grapevine about how the season 10 trailer came out and Amanda is saying like Kyle fell asleep at a fan's house until 6:30 a.m. and then Kyle's like Amanda doesn't like where are her priorities, like she's not supporting me in my DJ career.
hmm.
What are your thoughts as like women supporting women?
Oh yeah, I mean, like always support women. I mean, I'm here for the girls and the gays and theys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
my like feelings about Kyle Cook obviously are going to change once I watch Summer House through, because on
sure.
one hand, when I first saw him, I was like, oh my God, he's such a tool. Like watching him like on like the
Right.
Vanderpump episode with like
Like frat
Stassi
boy.
and yeah,
oh,
yeah,
that
I was saying
and
like
like
you
episode.
look like Steve Jobs with the turtleneck.
yeah, and I kind of feel like that's kind of why I was like not really into Summer House, because I was like, that's
Yeah.
just like because I lived because originally from Massachusetts, I like lived in South Boston, and I'm like, this is too straight for me. Like I think that's
Yeah.
why I wasn't really into it. Like I'm all for the girls, the gays, like middle-aged women, like fuel my fire, right? And so, but then like then on the other end, I like loved Kyle when he was on the Traders. I thought he was like super smart and
Yeah.
engaging, and like I was like, oh, he's cool. And then like I've been around him in circles, like not that we know each other, but like I've been in areas where I've like been at events with him and stuff, and he was lovely. So like where
Mm.
I was kind of just like, oh, like I don't know, maybe it's on the show. Like the first time I met him, like he had a couple of drinks, and I was like, oh, you kind of remind me of what I saw on Vanderpump Rules. And then I saw him at an event earlier this year, and he was like awesome. He's from Manchester, New Hampshire, which is like
Yeah.
30 minutes from me, and we like bonded about being from like Massachusetts, like New England, and he was like super cool. So who knows? I don't
Yeah.
know. But again, bringing it back to Amanda, you always support women. I don't know.
Girl, you need to get into it.
I will. I know.
You need to get into it. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing. Here's
Yeah.
the thing. At what point can you continue to support a girlfriend when this is a
Well,
repeated
wife, right?
behavior? No, I'm saying girl to girl. Like, at what
Mm,
point
Yeah.
can I continue to support my girlfriend? Because this is a repeated behavior. Like, you don't know the
Right.
tea. I don't want to spill the tea,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
I
Don't
think
spoil it. You know
it's,
I hate
I will
spoilers.
not, but I think it's just really hard to watch somebody that has so much potential, that is so
hmm
talented, just be like stuck. I think
Right.
it's stuck. We are in quicksand and we are either gonna sink or we are gonna crawl out of it. I was gonna say swim, but you don't swim in quicksand, mama. That ain't gonna happen. But
I'm
And
I,
saying, yep,
yeah.
yep.
I was gonna say, speaking as someone who kind of was just stuck in not a great relationship, Allie was my person. We were talking through it all. And even I felt like, damn, I am complaining to Allie about the same shit over and over and over. Like, at some point, it's going to be annoying for her to keep hearing the same thing. Like, I need to make a decision. And also thinking how much things have changed for me since I made that decision.
Right.
Imagine how much more Amanda can grow. And I mean, she finally started her bikini line. Like, all the things she could
Also,
be
I need to
doing.
get into that because is it good? Because she like she has a larger chest.
hmm
So she made a swimwear line that was like complimentary to people with like
The
larger
girls.
chests. Yeah, the
hmm
girls. Because like, I don't know what like, do you know what your boob type is? Like your boob shape?
You asking
Minute.
me? Oh,
Yeah, I'm asking you.
you were
No.
asking me. Listen,
No,
I
because
love men.
like
Listen, I love men, but I do appreciate a good rack. So there you go.
because I sometimes will like buy a bathing suit or buy a bra and like I have so much spillage on like the side. So like I can't wear a classic triangle.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
was really interested in her line, but then I also, if I wear an underwire bra, then sometimes my nips almost out. It's just unbecoming of me to wear a bathing suit. So I'm like, can we just go nude? Because I'm basically there. Like the boob is spilling out
Free the nip,
regardless.
right?
I
I'm all
don't know
for
what
it.
to do. So
Yeah, yeah,
maybe
I get it.
next summer I need to get into her swimsuit line. But I'm
They were
so
cute.
glad that
They were
she
cute.
launched it. Like that to
Yes.
me
Yes.
was a go get 'em girl. Like you are, that is amazing for me. Like get that bag, make a name for yourself, create a product that women need. Here for it.
I
Yes.
love that. You know,
And I just go ahead.
no, I just want to say, like, I think that again, I don't know the show well, which I will. Like, this is going to be my binge over Christmas in the month of January. So
Yes.
I'll be,
Yes.
and people, I remember like my friend was like, "You have a lot going on. Like, how are you going to watch it?" I go, "You underestimate my abilities
Honey,
when it comes to
honey.
like Daddy Andy's network. I will commit." Okay. Um, but there's something to be said too, and I think that like not just women, but I just think anyone in relationships, I think that like when people start like feeling success, I think that like that does change
Yeah.
dynamics in relationships, and even just like I think from even from like a single perspective, like I think that I'm so gung ho of like what the next thing is. Like I'm like I
Hmm.
feel like that my mentality is like that Lady Gaga meme where it's like bus, club, another
Yes.
club, no sleep. And I think that like my brother said to me multiple times, he's like, you need to settle down because like it's because I feel like that like it's nice to like share success with like your significant other and all these like different things. So I feel like that like I don't know, like success changes people like in different stages of relationships.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't know if I, I
hmm
don't know if I don't know if I don't know
100%.
if I my point I don't know if my point made more sense in my head, but you could
No,
totally cut this if it didn't. But
I think it's so
yeah,
valid. I mean, from like Maddie's experience, like divorce, going into a new relationship, now being single again, like you have seen your business personally change
Oh my
in
gosh.
ways.
Yeah.
Matt, you single, you're like fucking hustle. Like all I got to do is take care of me. I'm number one. Of course, you are a great friend, family, all that sort of stuff. But like you are pouring into you,
right.
and then me being an old married hag. Like we're all in different dynamics. So I think it's so interesting to see like how success in your business can change a dynamic, and you always hope it's for the positive, but unfortunately when we watch things like Summer House or Real Housewives or things like that, we
All
see
aspirational, right?
yeah, we see sometimes the man, mostly if we're talking about housewives, they can't handle the success of like a strong woman. um And that ain't a problem over here. We got James all ready. He is
My
learned.
man. Shout
Yeah.
out to James. I love. I also I do want to say. Well, I know that this was like that we record these earlier, but you guys
Yeah.
recently had my friend Psychic Salone on the show,
Yes,
and I
yes.
didn't
Let's get
get
into
and I
it.
yeah, and I didn't get this information from him. Well, he has told me this, but I remember that there was like a specific experience with a tarot reader that I had in New York City, and
Yeah.
she said to me, she was like, "You're a workaholic." She's like, "You're a Capricorn," and I was like, "Yep," and she's like, "Very
No.
true to you." And she was like, you need to set it some time aside for love because she's like, you're gonna work yourself to the bone, and it doesn't matter how successful you will get because you're always gonna be searching for like that. So like, you need to also put your energy into love.
Oh my
So for
God.
all of our all of the
Shut
workaholic
up.
girlies out there, like I don't know. And which Maddie, you know, because we talked at Allie's wedding. We had me and Maddie like officially met at Allie's wedding, and we had like a kumbaya, like blood sisters moment in the Kangamangas Highway about this.
Cutting
And I was,
hands, putting
yeah,
them together.
literally, no, yeah, no, literally, like went like we were like legit missing persons report, like,
No,
and
guy,
meanwhile we're
we
just like
talked
holding
about this
hands.
on the wedding recap episode. If you haven't listened, Matt was at the wedding, of course. You know, we had a moment. We talked about it. It's a timepiece. Go back to that episode. I'm calling them on the day of my wedding because I'm like, I want them to stop by. Where the hell are they? Going to voicemail. I was like, the fuck? And I was like, talking to my sister, talking to my bridesmaids. I was like, can somebody just like text them? They're like, it's going green. I'm like, what the fuck, are they dead? Like, all right, I guess they're gonna miss it. And then, of course, if you're from like the New England area, I was like, they're probably on the Kangamangas. Like, there's no service there. Like, they'll be here when they get here, I suppose. All of a sudden, you guys pop out of nowhere. And I was like, the fuck were you guys? And you were
Yeah,
having
we get
like
like
a
inundated
soul
with like a
sister
hundred
moment.
texts. No, literally,
Yeah.
we were like a combination of like that ending scene in Bridesmaids with like when they're singing that song
Yeah,
at the
yeah, yeah,
wedding
yeah.
with like the hills are alive, like legit, like with like
Sound of music.
Oh,
Yeah. But
those.
you guys had that moment where you like super bonded because Maddie is so like obsessed with working. And like
me too.
she sometimes like I have to validate. I'm like, you like can chill the fuck out. And then she's like, I like how you can say that. And I'm like, well, sometimes I'm also too chill. So it's nice to have like a friend that is kind like we are the
Yeah,
yin to the yang, you know?
Mhm.
we're the Vicky
So
Gunvalsons of the group, like for sure. We always have the
yeah,
laptop like
you're booked
working.
and busy chronically. And it's like 9 p.m. last night. And she's like still doing things. And I'm just like, baby girl, like you gotta like take the foot off the gas for a minute. But it's
I
also really
know.
nice to be able to have somebody that like completely gets that. Um, and I think that like it's so valid if you're like looking like inward or thinking about romantic relationships. Like you can't work yourself to death. You can't
Mhm.
miss out on opportunities. Like I know Maddie, sometimes you're like, oh, I could be working, I could do this. And I'm like, no, go live your life. Like you are living
Let
your life. Yes.
Let me
What?
Right.
say, if it wasn't for Maddie convincing me to go with him to Kangamang, I was like, why you get work done? He was like,
Oh
you're
my
never here.
God,
I
so
almost didn't go.
wild. On the
I was
day of
like,
my wedding, she's like, "Let me work for a couple of hours." Like, but of course you did because like that is like your MO, which is
It is.
it's not a bad like it's not the worst. It's not the worst thing. Like at least at least you're not like smoking a crack pipe.
Exactly. But also, like, that's one of my things I've said to Allie all the time, like,
or
be
that.
where your feet are. Be where your feet are. And we had such a good time. We made such a good bond. We talked about so many things, and then so much has come out of that. So it's like very important to, I think, love coming in all different ways. I like to
Mm.
think of it that way rather than like, I have to have love in this one specific way or nothing else matters, right? I think love can be in so much more like friendship, other ways that doesn't, it's still, fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
It was so transformative for me personally that
Really?
that I need Allie and James to do like a vow renewal like in 10 to 15 years, and we come back on the pod and we have like a where are they now like special
Where are they
because
now?
we like literally were like it's like where are they now? It's like, and it's hopefully it's like Maddie is married with 12 children, and Matt is like the host of like the Tonight Show, and it has like
He has taken
and,
over Watch What Happens
uh,
Live.
yeah, and like somehow, like by the grace of God, reproduced and had a child.
Yes. Just he manifested it. He manifested a child.
Since we're
Yeah,
on this topic,
exactly.
I did want to ask because we did talk about this in Kangamangas. We talked about
Yes.
being intentional with dating. Is that something you're going to be intentional about in 2026? And if so, what does that look like?
Great question. Thank you
That
so much
is
for
a
asking. Oh
good
my God, putting me on the
question.
hot seat, Madison. Um,
Woo!
yeah,
Woo!
no, I will say like because so to kind of bring back, yes, we had like the whole transformative conversation. Like last year, I was in 8 weddings last year, and it was again the bus club, another club, like just kind of going on. And I think that like Allie's wedding, having that conversation with Maddie, kind of like made me kind of think about it, and then 2 weeks later, I had my best friends John and AJ's wedding, and it was my first gay wedding, and it was probably the first wedding that like I could like actually see myself in.
Yeah.
And like ever since then, I just have had this like hunger for like love.
Mm.
Mm.
And I'm a very loving person, like to family, friends, like whatever, but like I feel like I've never been in like a like eat, can't sleep kind of love,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um World Series kind of stuff, if you want to quote the Mary Kate and Ashley movie. Um, but like, I feel like that, again, with like life, we're trying to be better with work-life balance. This just like I said, like working in fundraising this time of year, it's just like so crazy. So I'm like trying not to have that be my excuse of like not putting myself out there, but I will
Mm-hmm.
say I have been way more intentional of like, nope, let's get a drink. Let's do this. And like January 1st, like we're hitting the ground running. We're gonna find Mr. Matty D in
What does
2026.
being
Wow.
intentional with dating look like? Again, as like an old maiden.
I just kind of feel like putting yourself out there, say yes to going out. Like,
Mm.
and I think that like that's Maddie, I feel like you probably have the same issue, like where we're just like, oh, we have so much going on. I gotta do this and blah
Not
blah
so
blah.
much.
Just like go. And I think that something that I think that a lot of people say that really annoys me, and me and my friend Chris talk about this all the time, is like I hate when people go on dates and they're like, "There's nothing to talk about," and I'm like, "There's everything to talk about. You don't know
Mm.
what, like, you don't know anything about each other.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
Who
mean?"
says
And so
that?
it's, oh,
That's
I've known a lot
crazy.
of people like, "Oh, I don't really know what to say," and first dates are awkward, and it's like, okay, well, like you're going out, like putting yourself out there, you know.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
It
just think
sounds
like,
like it's like a level of just like insecurity and maybe not
Yes.
feeling like enough. Like you don't personally feel enough. So it's
yeah,
like, what do I talk about? And the truth is there's everything to talk about. And like
Hmm.
as
yeah,
corny as it sounds, I mean, again, take this advice or leave it. I don't know what I'm talking about. But like maybe look up some like conversation pieces and go into it being like, oh, I could talk about this. I could talk about this. Like set yourself up for success if you find
Hmm.
yourself being a little bit more awkward or not knowing how to navigate new experiences. Like, you don't got
yeah.
to tell anybody that you're doing that.
Well, I think I was talking about this the other day with a friend, and I was like, dating is kind of I kind of look at it kind of a lot like college orientation, right? You go there, it's
Oh, right.
nerve-wracking, and doesn't matter. There's always the kids that are like literally a mute, and then the ones that are like holding court, me, and it's like that they have the big personalities, but at the end of the day, every single person is nervous. No one knows what to
Yeah.
expect, and it's just like I think that what I kind of tell myself is that it's just like just be yourself because at the end of the day, like I don't know, like and I'm also kind of like very witchy in a sense where like if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Well, same thing about the friends thing. Like I mean, I've been in New York 3.5 years. Maddie, you just recently moved. Allie, I feel like you're always like on the move with James, with work, whatever. Making adult friends sucks. It's the worst. And I feel like
It's
that you're kind
really
of like
hard.
yeah, and like and you're just trying to put yourself out there, and that's where I'm
Hmm.
kind of like pushing myself too from like from the friends. I have a lot of great friends in New York, and I feel like that first year and a half, 2 years is just like touch and go, and now I feel like I have like a group, but you always want to make more friends. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Hmm.
and I feel like that just like putting yourself with like I'm gonna join a running club, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, like
Hmm.
do like put in the work, just like
Hmm.
and you can't like I feel like too with the friend stuff, like when you move places, like I feel like you can't date until you have like a solid group of friends because it's like
Mm.
Yeah.
because it's like yeah, like I mean you just gotta have a relationship too where it's like you're not gonna like like why am I gonna like hang out with someone? Most relationships don't go anywhere. I'm not being pessimistic. It's just like the truth. So what? You're
Hmm.
gonna date some guy and then hang out with all his friends, and then like 6 months later when you break up, and you're like, oh, I have no friends. So you would have
Right.
like your own
Yep.
solid group of friends too.
I 100% agree with that. And that's what I've been like. I went back and saw all my friends that I initially made when I was like, I'm going to start making friends. And they're like, oh, we're so glad that like you're back. I'm like, oh God, I was like one of those girls that kind of fell off the face of the world, because of
Yeah.
their boyfriend. I was like, never again am I doing that. Did want to ask you, with intentionality, are you on for dating? Are you on apps? Are you doing
Yes.
more like, yes, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Honey, we have been
Get
we have
my
been
ass on an app.
okay, honey,
I've
my ass has
never
been on
been
the
on
app
an
since
app.
20.
I've never been on an app. Like
That was
I
me.
I thought I've showed
no,
personally.
no, I've looked on everybody's phone. Give me a
Yeah, you've been
phone.
on
I
mine,
am
honey. You've
scrolling.
seen some things on the grinder and the scruff as well, but that is for the
Remember, we
Patreon
had
episode.
that is for the Patreon episode. Will be coming when you guys listen to the ads. Um,
Yeah,
I this is
exactly.
like we'll talk about this off screen off camera, but Matt was at my house one time and we're looking at Grinder and he's like, "Who is this?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I know who that is." Like it just was we were gobsmacked. I was just and like that person is out. Like they're it's not like they're, not out, but it was just like worlds colliding. This feels so crazy. I'm like, cuz he doesn't live, where my parents live.
Mhm.
But yeah, the apps. I've never had an app experience and part of me is like I kind of missed out on that. I mean, not to like sound like a douchebag, but like, I feel like
I
that's
mean,
kind of like a
you
thing,
ended
like
up
a
all
pivotal
right,
thing.
Allie.
I
James
suppose,
is the
but I
best.
got lucky. I got lucky, but
You
I
did
feel
get
like
lucky.
that's an experience, is it not?
It
Like, I feel
it
like you
Well,
learn a lot about
yeah.
yourself.
Well, I also think to add with the intentionality, I'm going to add on to something that I need to like be better at, and I'm so
Mm.
ADD, and I also think that like with living in New York, it's just like to quote Katie Heron, the limit does not exist. Like it's just
Uh,
like
Mhm.
there's just so much going on all the time. Everyone's hot,
Mhm.
everyone's successful, everyone's this, and it's like, and I just kind of feel like that, like if and if you go somewhere, like let's say if I go on a date with Maddie, right, and I'm like, all right, like they're cool, whatever, and there's like one thing that I'm kind of like not really like into. I'm like, yeah, whatever. The next day or the same day, I could call Allie and go on a date with her. Like it's like the same
right.
thing. There's
Mhm.
just
There's
so
so
much
much.
turnover, and and
You turned
everyone's kind of in their own world. It's like that New York minute is a real thing, and so I
Yeah.
kind of just do feel like my goal for 2026 is like I'm like a chronic matcher, and I think a lot of people are like that, and you just kind
Like
of like
swipe and
Mm.
matching. Okay.
swipe matching, and there's no like I don't know. I just kind of feel when guys come on like too strong too, where it's like, well, when are we gonna meet? When are you free? When this? And it's like, I don't, Maddie. I don't know if you feel that way when I mean, you want a guy that like, hey, I really want to hang. I want to take you out. Like that's
Uh-huh.
nice, but like I just feel like sometimes it's just like, oh God, like, because we're just like
Like your
such like
DTM
scheduled.
doing too
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
like for me, for sure. I had a friend ask me, "How are you going on so many dates?" Just like, I'm talking to these guys for like weeks, and I go, "They have like a couple days to ask me out from when we matched, because like, why are we being pen pals?" So I
Mm,
think it's like finding that fine line between, texting back and forth a little bit on Hinge or whatever to like, I'm not having a conversation for weeks and weeks. The mistake I made with Army Man, if we remember him,
mm.
a whole
Oh
month
yeah.
and then you have this weird relationship where it's not a relationship and you know each other and like all that kind of mess. But like, I mean, I feel like a couple days is a good amount of time and then they can like ask you out. But like, I don't want to waste all my time going back and forth?
Well, also too, like I mean, like, and I can speak this for me. Like, I mean, dating is dating, but also like gay dating is just like so different. There's so many
Yeah.
Hmm.
different like
Yeah.
relationships and like, listen, whatever works for you, like whatever. Like, there's so many open relationships and thruples and
Mm.
this thing and that thing. And it's like, I mean, I have plenty of friends who are in those type of relationships and works for them, whatever. But it's like there's been so many times where I'm like, oh, this guy's like so cool, whatever. And he's like, oh, so my husband. I'm like. Okay,
Uh,
well, so
you're a
it's like,
one guy
yeah,
kind of guy.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, at least for right now. I mean,
Okay.
I can't be looking for multiple if I can't get one. You know what I
Well, could you though? I mean, it sounds like there's opportunity. But yeah,
mean?
no,
Oh,
that would be And because you are living in New York, so fast paced, everybody's on their hustle, everybody's on their grind. It is, I can see that intentionality needing to like really be there because, like you said, oh, if you're not happy with, John, you can go on a date with, Tim tomorrow. And like, there's so much of just like, oh,
Right.
I don't need to try hard with this person because there's so many other people versus if you're in like a rural area, like
Slim
when
pickings compared
Slim
to New
Kid, yeah,
York.
like literally like before Kate was in a relationship, she was up here and we were just like on her hinge and she's like, they're the same five guys on this app. And like, of
Right.
course
Oh,
you would have to be, more, like that causes you to be intentional because like there's less fish in the sea, if you will. Maddie, you live in a city as well. So like you do have kind of those options. But I think being intentional, like, they always say like if you're looking for a relationship, you're not going to find it. But I think if you put out the energy of like my person is out there, my match is out there, like I fully believe that I am accepting of love, I am open to relationships. I think that energy is different because that's more manifestation versus like I need a relationship. Like that feels
Yeah, no.
hmm.
desperate.
I feel that like I'm definitely in the
Yeah.
manifestation because I'm very much like
Yes.
everything in life I feel like happens when it's supposed to, and you're just like,
Yeah.
and I also like I think this is like I love how this has become like a therapy session. I feel like that what
Yeah.
I've like noticed like with my own self is that I care deeply for my people, right? And
Oh,
like
Hmm.
so
I
hard being
love
an empath.
I'm such
Oh,
an empath. I'm also like from what I do for a living, like I
Of
work in
course.
development, but like I'm referred to at my job as a relationship manager, right? So I feel
Mm.
like that per like
mm.
romantic and friendships and family shit, like I feel like I put so much energy into it, and I kind of feel like if I don't get the reciprocal on some
Oh,
things, then it's like dead to me, shut off or whatever. And that's something that I'm
yeah.
definitely working. I know a lot of people deal with that too. And that's just something that I need to just like, I definitely am like, I mean, it's hard to like explain this because no one that's listening to knows who I am. Allie knows what I'm saying. It's like, I'm very chill and fun, whatever, but I'm also like high strung, if that makes sense. I don't know if you can tell that
Oh,
in my
yeah.
personality.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think you're high strung. I think you're high maintenance and as well am I. Like that's where we like the things that we like. That's where we vibe.
We can go,
But
we can go with the flow but internally we're screaming. I,
internally we're screaming or we look
I
at
would,
each other and we're like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah,
yeah. So,
yeah.
but it's hard
I would
because
never
yeah.
insult someone to be like, "Well, I want this." I'd be like, "Oh, it's great,
Okay,
it's
that's
fine."
fine. Rage
Internally, like it's like,
texting. Yeah. No,
yeah,
but then on the other hand, you also are so compassionate and like empathetic that like you wouldn't want to say something because you're like, well, I don't want to like hurt this person's feelings. Like it's fine. I will suffer internally because like I want
yeah.
my friend, brother, sister, sibling, whatever. Like I want these people to like live in their best moments. Like when we would go on like camping vacations
Oh,
together, like
right.
me and you would be like, oh my fucking God. We're just like, so great. God, like over here, like Jekyll and Hyde of like internally screaming, but like also being just like that person that like we want those people to be happy. And like that's like it's a pretty hard thing to balance and knowing how to listen to yourself and like it's okay to like not just like go along with what people want if you are not feeling it sometimes. But that's a really hard
Well,
thing because then
it's
you're looked at
very
as
hard.
like, oh, you're so
Selfish, or you're
dramatic. You're
this.
yeah, then people start to say, "Oh, you're high strung." And it's like, "Excuse me. I'm not high strung. I just know what I
You're
want."
passionate, and
I'm
you're
Hmm.
passionate.
passionate.
But I feel like, and for listeners, like I mean, I did this podcast a year ago, whatever, and that was like 2024 for me was a very transformative year, like
Yeah.
personally, like from on so many different ways, and I think that like I've like done a lot of work on myself in the last almost 2 years now, and I think that we're all a work in progress all the time, and I think
Hmm.
that's something that like I do like a lot. I think again goes to back to like me saying I'm like a relationship manager like for work. I feel like it's like
Yeah.
trying to like mix the two worlds together is that like I really need to think of me and like what works for me. And I think a lot of people are like trying to please everybody, and like it's like this year, for instance, like yeah, Allie's wedding. Was I so excited to go to Allie's wedding? I'm so happy I went. But like I was on like the back to back of 5 wedding weekends in a row, and it's exhausting. And like and you're trying just like and it kind of takes you away from dating, rest, sleep. So
Mm-hmm.
like I think that like things that like I've been trying to do now is just like say no to things. It's actually quite liberating. And like I've
Mm.
and like you know what I mean? And I think that like that also will help with the intentionality of dating, of like what does Matt
Yeah.
want? What is
Hmm.
like not like, oh, I gotta do this and that. Like actually I had a couple of guys that were asking me to go on a date this week, but between end of year and like every and going home tomorrow for the holidays, like I just like said, like I'm so worried to like let people down that I just said, you know
Hmm.
what, honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I am so at capacity right now with like work, and I gotta leave on Saturday, and I'm like, can we just table this like for the new year? And they all were like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And I'm like,
Hmm.
Yeah.
wait, really? So like that also is like I think a lot of people miss the mark on that all the time.
Because that's being so intentional right there. Because you're
Yeah.
Yeah,
not just going along with, oh, they asked me, so I should go. And then I'm being like stressed out because I have a million things to do and I'm not really being present. And
yeah,
it takes you out of it. But to like be vulnerable and to say, I really can't handle this right now, but like, let's pick it up in the new year. Let's grab a drink. Let's, and to have that being accepted, like, that's just reaffirming you are allowed to choose you and to express that. And it doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you selfish. It's actually really healthy in a dating scenario because the other person is like, oh, like they're not going to be their best selves on this date. This date is not going to go well because they're stressed the
yeah.
Hmm.
fuck out. Great, let's do
Hmm.
it in the new year. That is a nugget of gold, you guys. If you're dating and you are that chronic people pleaser, you're afraid to quote unquote let people down, being transparent in a situation like that, that's not letting somebody down. That's actually like setting your potential up for the better. Like I love that. That is so, so powerful. And it reminded you of like, hey, I don't have to just like go along with whatever because someone asked me and I'm afraid to hurt their feelings.
Exactly. Exactly. So
I heard
I think
this
Oh,
that's
really
my
good
biggest thing. Go
I
on.
heard
yeah.
this really good quote. I can't remember who said it exactly, but it was if I remember, I'll put her in the show notes, but she's like a mindset coach, and she was saying that whenever you have that feeling like, oh, I'm ready to go home, or I don't want to be here, or this is just not for me, when you continue to stay or go to that event or whatever it is with that
Ah,
in mind, you are kind of like your worst self. And I think about every single date where I knew I was like, this is not it. And then like I continued to stay. I'm like, I was my worst self. And I was also like wasting their time too. So I think like even for me when I start to date again eventually, if I have that feeling of like I really don't want to be here, I'm just gonna say like, hey, nice meeting you, but like I don't see this going anywhere. Like I'm gonna head out now. Like I think that's
Right.
something I really want to work on because it's kind of scary, right? Because you're
that's so
rejecting them.
scary.
I know you're rejecting them right then and there, but you're doing the kindest thing of not wasting their time and also kind to your body, like not keeping it stressed. Because I know that feeling of being stressed, like I want to go, and you feel like you can't go. So that's something
Agoraphobia.
that like that's something that I'm gonna really work on next year. And I don't know if you've thought about that, but that's something I'm gonna do.
I mean, like I mean, I think from like I think that to kind of because I think everything's all connected, right? Dating,
Yeah.
friends, professional, everything, right? And I think that as I think the end of year for everybody, especially like how I'm feeling right now, is just like burnt out. And I think that like I had this moment with like my mom like 2 weeks ago. I had like it was like the week I had a big event and I was doing this and that, and it was like some little thing, and in reality, not a big deal. It just like
Right.
set me off, and I was like super upset. And of course, we all call our mom. And I'll be 31 in less than a month, and I still call my mom every day. So, but and it just like my mom's like you like, but I also had like my best friend's birthday that night, and I'm like, well, of course I'm gonna go, and I need to go. And she's like, take a deep breath. You're obviously gonna go to his birthday. She's like, but like have fun. She's like, you're just overtired.
Yeah.
And I think I said this to. I know I joke about that line all the time of the bus, club, another club, no
Yeah.
sleep. And I said that to my therapist that Monday, And I was like, yeah, I just like constantly feel like I'm in like that Lady Gaga meme. And he goes, and how did that work out for her? And I was like, you're right. Because she's been very transparent about her depression and anxiety and
Yep.
everything. And he was like, and he's like, and I was like, you're so right. And I feel like that there's just like, especially during this time of year, I know that this is coming out in January, but January is kind of like where we kind of just like rest after like the craziness of the
Your
end of the year,
reset.
but
Mhm.
like really enjoy it. I think that like, and I think a lot, and I know that January also can be a very lonely time of month because like October, November, December is such a high intense time of like
Mm-hmm.
productivity and working and family relationships and this and that. Use
Mhm.
that time to like recharge and actually like, because I know in 5, 6 months when it's like 80 degrees and the grill is going and you have to go to this part and then blah, 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 you're like, I really wish it was 20 degrees and snowing outside. Like I could watch Bravo in my bed and just like rot. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
well, that was a
That's another
multi-prong
just like
answer.
no, but that's just another example of like why we have to be intentional with dating, intentional with our own time,
Great.
and pausing because even, with your health, with your business, with friendships, with relationships, there is this scarcity that kind of comes into your brain of like, what if this never happens? And
Mhm.
Maddie and
Preach.
we had Phil on, who, you guys, or you connected us with him, and we were talking about our conversation with him. He gave us an amazing reading. If you guys haven't listened to that episode, go back. It is our December guest episode. But we were talking to him about this reading. And then we were also talking to him about these other girls that we interviewed, Inspired Delusions. And they set us up with a mindset hack of like, it's already happening. The fact that you
Mhm.
are desiring this outcome means it is already happening. You don't need to worry about the when or the how, right? And that is
Mhm.
hard for people to detach from because we got to figure this out. How is this happening? When is this happening? What is it going to do? You are going to do the things each day to make it happen, right? Just believing
Right.
and trusting in that. And it does sound a little intangible because it is. But for myself, somebody that is like so science based and somebody that is like, I need the facts and the figures, like, I need to
Right.
see things, it has actually been such a transformative thing. And like just trusting myself and trusting what
Right.
I'm doing. Um, and it just like that mindset is so powerful. And so taking the time in January to reset, to write a little goals journal, to write some gratitude, to take that mindset and like look at like what does manifesting look like for you. And I mean, this goes back to, I wanted to talk to you about the mindset of like being an endurance athlete because I am
Yeah.
sure there are overlaps between like when you're running a marathon, when you're running a half, and then doing the hard things in business or doing, the hard things in relationships, dating, like all of these things all come together. Like your mind does not separate. Like I firmly believe, like there's all crossover. And so let's picture it is your hardest day. The run is feeling like you are running through 6 feet of mud. You're like, what the fuck? This is crazy. The playlist isn't hitting. Where do you go in your mind? Where do you go to keep moving forward?
That's a great question. That's like kind of an emotional question, honestly, to be
Yeah, it
completely
is.
honest. I think that, and this is something that I've also been working through in my own self, because kind of like what I said, not to like reference the last time I was here, but last time I
Yeah.
was here, I was like going through a lot of grief and kind of like losing my grandfather, and running has always been like a big thing for me the last 10 years of my life, and I feel like that and I'm such a schedule person, and I kind of
Mm-hmm.
feel like that voice in you kind of goes in where it's like you're not enough, you're not doing enough, you're not like, it's like, oh, you're still like,
Mm-hmm.
everyone is always that kid
Mm-hmm.
that's like 10 or 15 years old that's not like hitting there. And I think that it's so like that for me is a blessing and a curse, right? Where it's like
Yeah.
when someone tells me I can't do something, my first marathon, like no one ever thought I would ever do it. And I'm running my ninth in April. So
Mhm.
it's like, so I remember like being at the
Weren't you
Boston
a
Marathon.
sophomore when you ran your first?
Yeah.
A
Wow.
sophomore in
College.
college. That's crazy.
Literally ran my first half 6 months prior. Like was never a runner. Used to walk the mile in college in high school. I was like, fuck this. Like all like and now I'm like Forrest Gump, right? It just kind of happens. But I think
Yeah.
but honestly though, I think a lot of people in running are like that. Of course, you have the subset of people. I mean, like even like look at your parents, right? Like Allie's
Yeah.
parents are like you think I'm nuts. Like they are insane runners. Like and like when you talk to them, they weren't like track stars in high school and doing this. A lot of people like later in life just kind of find like love of running with like mental health and schedule and like
Yeah.
you never think you're always running for that feeling, right? And I
Like you're
think that I
chasing kind of the high.
the high. It's kind
Yeah.
of like and that's and I remember like at the marathon last year with everything going on, I trained my hardest. I wanted a certain time, blah, blah, blah. And I remember at mile 3, it was 75 degrees. And I was just like, I'm done. Like, I was like, I have nothing in the tank. But I knew that my coworker had her like two young kids at the top of BC at 22. And I was just like, okay. And I remember being at like mile 5, having this entire internal dialogue being like, what the fuck am I doing? I have nothing to prove.
Oh,
No one gives a shit if I come in at 3 hours or 17 hours, if I do the marathon, if I don't. And you're just kind of like going through this whole thing. And I think it's now maybe kind of realize that it's like, no one cares. The fact that you're
Yeah.
out there, just like dig deep. Right. And I
Yeah.
know this is a convoluted answer, but just it's kind of like where my mind's going right now. And I
Yeah.
and again like how and I loved how you said like how everything's all connected. The body and the mind's all connected. Like I think that I was a competitive actor back in the day. Like I used to, like do 6, 7 shows a year, travel, singing, like everything, like I like all the time. And I would do shows like Miss Saigon at a high school level, which is like unheard of, and do it in like a month. And I think that
Hmm.
like that type of like work ethic kind of like
Hmm.
goes into like things like into high school into like the marathon and
Right.
like
mm.
and you kind of like pair that in with different parts of your life. I'm like, all right, if I can run the marathon in a monsoon nor'easter, then I can get through today. It's kind of like my personal like if Brittany can get through 2007, you can get through
Yeah.
today. That's my whole thing, you know? And like that
Yeah.
just it translates through. So,
And it's
yeah.
I love the passion of it because for so many of us, like moving our body and exercise is part therapeutic, part goal driven, right? Like, let's be real here. But the therapeutic reprieve that you get out of accomplishing something, and it's you versus you. You could give
Mhm.
up at any time. You could stop training. You could stop and nobody's really going to question you. They're going to be like, "Oh, okay." Maybe they'll talk behind your back, but like they're not going to say it to your face. So to keep that energy going and then to have that as a reference point, like when things are hard, when you are doubting yourself, like for manifesting, going back to that energy of like, I fucking did that. Who runs a marathon? Who does that? Who does that? Not a lot of people do it.
Right.
Right when we're
Mhm.
watching it on the TV, there's a lot of people on the TV. But if you look in your personal life, like before meeting you, I really had like my parents and their friends as references. And then I met you and I was like, oh, wow, I don't know anybody like my age that is doing this type of stuff. And mind you, that was like 10 years ago that I was like, oh my God,
Can
look
you
at
believe?
Matthew. Oh my God, no, I cannot believe it's so crazy. I also thought like this is a side tangent. Matt and I met in Madrid where Kate was studying. I thought he was the coolest. I was like, I'm going to be friends with him. Like, I am going to
It
be
was
friends
love
with
at
him.
first. It was
It
love
was
at first sight.
it was love at first sight. Kate gave him her computer because like his was broken, and she goes, her password, this is not her password anymore. Don't worry, you can't hack into the system. She gives her computer and she goes, Smoky one too.
And then it was lights out.
It was
Yeah.
I was like, I love this guy because he is having the same reaction I am. I'm like, the fuck, Kate? What are you doing? And she's like, it's my password. I'm like, that is bizarre. But
Well, you know what? You know what's funny is that like I am like an AI version of you. I'm the AI male version of if you and Kate were to ever like morph into a man. Like I have
right.
like the schedule, like no bullshit, like side of you, and then like Kate's nuts. I'm also like batshit crazy,
Yeah.
like the funny side, and like I just feel like I think that's why our relationship is like so like
The way it is.
so tight because it's like I'm literally 50-50 you
Bizarre.
like Kate's like sleeping in like I'm up at 5 a.m. with your mom like doing a spin class if I stay it's just
It
like
is.
right
It's
and
true. It's true.
yeah
Yeah, it's an
um
odd dynamic, but it works for us girls.
but
Um,
wait
yeah.
I do want to say this though to
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
put a bow on
Wrap.
that for
Yeah.
everybody like listening on this podcast. Like you guys do such great work, and I like love listening to this podcast with the health and the
Hmm.
wellness thing. And I know that the marathon is not for everybody, and I totally
Right.
get that. And whatever your marathon is, it could if it's an endurance thing, it could be a 5K walk or just like getting up and walking on the treadmill or like making a salad for lunch and like meal prep like
Going to
whatever
the
it is.
gym,
Yeah,
meal prepping. Everybody's
yeah,
marathon
something
is their
is
marathon.
different.
Like
Yeah, it's huge.
visualize it. Yeah. Yeah, because
And like and be like I fucking did that. Like and I feel like that I it's taken me like I did that half last weekend. Was it what I normally do? You know, whatever. But I was like I said to myself I go it was 25 degrees all hills the entire time. I've been like working myself to the bone all the time I'm like I fucking did it. I'm like who gives a shit? Like whatever. And I feel like that you kind of have to because I'm such a goal-oriented person. Like I think that even with this podcast, we've Allie and I have had this conversation so many times where it's like I gotta get this content out. I gotta do this and that. And I'm just like at like E. And it's like and I just like know like that, you know what? They can catch up on my other episodes. I don't need to do an episode this week. So I think that like
Hmm.
being good to yourself and like celebrating the wins, because
mm,
I think that one day, like for both of us, our podcast will blow up and be successful. But like it's just like you have to kind of like look at all these like Beyonce wasn't Beyonce overnight. Like
Hmm.
it's like it takes time and showing up and like
mm-hmm.
getting there, right? And I think that
Mm-hmm.
we all need to be good to ourselves. And I saw this meme on from Rihanna where she was like, "We don't celebrate each other enough." Even if it's just like getting out of bed in the morning, because I'll tell you right now, I know like I struggle with anxiety and depression like just like everybody else. And there's
Mm,
days where I'm like where I know if I go do a run in the morning will make me feel better, but I'm paralyzed with anxiety. And then I don't do it, and then I
Mm.
beat myself up
mm,
over it all morning. And I know that we all, you know, do that to ourselves, but like we can't do that. So like
right.
so I know like on paper I look like oh podcast marathoner I do all these great things but like I'm just as much of a shit show as everybody else. So
Celebrities, they're just like you.
Oh, I
yeah,
literally
no,
had this.
yeah. I wish, you know. I wish I was a celebrity, you know.
You
But
are. I had this conversation with Allie so many times to where when I stray away from my routine and the
Mm,
spots in my routine that fill my cup back up, and I stray away from them because I am saying yes to things that I don't want to be saying yes to, or I'm putting energy into something that's actually draining me, like a relationship,
mhm,
or I am like trying to squeeze every last bit out of my workday my entire night, I'm dead. And the next day,
right,
I'm dead. And like, why are we pouring so much energy into so many things, that are good, right? Like a relationship in a way or your work, and there's nothing left for yourself at the end of the day. So that's like a really big thing that I'm working on
mm.
in 2026 is having those boundaries of I'm stopping work at this time so I can
right,
do my routine and then I wake up the next day feeling so much better. I'm not going to be dating someone that I know from the get-go, when I know from the get-go that our lives are actually not gonna be able to coexist, not spending energy on that and then feeling guilty later on for not giving them
Oof.
energy that I shouldn't have been giving anyway. So things like that. Like
right.
I'm really, especially for people like us that are entrepreneurial and high achievers, it can be so hard to stop yourself from getting the extra thing done because you need to give that back to yourself.
No,
Right.
100%.
Oh. I love that.
Thank you for holding space for this. Like, to quote
I
Wicked.
give me your finger. Somebody give
I
me
know.
fingers. I want to wrap this up, but I want to hear all of us claim what we are receiving in 2026. What are we letting go of and what are we being open to receiving? What are we telling the universe? I am ready. I'll start it because I know
Yeah,
that
please
prompt
do.
can, it's a little heavy, but so
Yeah,
I'll go
thank
first.
you,
Terrified.
Oprah, for that.
I know, but I have to ask the hard questions, okay? So something that I put on my vision board for 2025 was like letting go of things that physically and mentally do not serve me, that do not add to my bucket. And that is something that I am going to continue to do in 2026. That being the self doubt. I am releasing my self doubt. Will it come up? Of course, because we're humans.
Yeah.
But that is something that I am working on fully releasing because I have the capacity for everything. I have the tools, I have the energy. I know what I want to accomplish will happen because it's me accomplishing them. And it doesn't matter if I have one person believing in me or 10 million, as long as I continue to believe in myself and quiet that self doubt and say, you can just fuck right off. We don't need you. I know I will always be successful. So that's something that I'm bringing in to 2026 and really holding that energy for. And I'm manifesting out there everything that I put on my 2026 vision board is going to happen. And I am believing that it is going to happen because we are not on this earth for the finite amount of time that we are to not believe into ourselves, to not follow our passions. How lucky are we that we get to sit and fucking podcast right now on a Friday and get to connect with each other? And then
Mm.
my manifestation that is more concrete is I will get on an airplane in 2026.
Yes.
Those are my things. Those are my things.
And I would really love it if you came to the Big Apple because that would make me
I
thrilled.
know, I know, I know. Let's put that there.
Well, we are
Yeah.
manifesting a birthday trip in March to New
Yeah.
York City, and Allie, James, Maddie, the whole gang.
Gang, gang.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Sex
right,
in
do
the
you want to
City,
go?
honey.
Sex in the City reboot and just like that? No, in just like us. Do you want to go or do we want to save our beautiful guests for last?
Are you ready, Maddie? I could go.
Um, I honestly, Ellie, you said that so perfectly. I think I just kind of want to not to be corporate, but like kind of like to add on to piggyback to that.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm an empath. I'm such an internalizer on everything and like every little thing. Something again, like we're all a work in progress. I feel like it's like you go 50 steps forward, 50 steps back all the time. You're like a pendulum swing all the time.
sure.
And
Okay.
I feel like from like personal relationships, I feel like I can't take on other people's shit. And I just feel like
Oh,
that holds on to me and like it's weird. Like on one hand, I feel like I'm super direct like in the moment of things that bother me, but then I think a lot of things that I do, I internalize and I don't like they don't know like they're not gonna know that I'm annoyed about something if I don't say like
Right.
we all don't have Phil. I'm not in a fight with every single person or frustrated with someone that can like look into a crystal ball and know that
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
annoyed.
yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I also think that like a line that I always live my life by is trust the process. And I feel like that just goes through with everything with like whether it's marathons or this or that, the podcast, like for those of you who are listening, thank you so much on behalf of my friends because doing a podcast is so much work. And I recently had my friend Ben Duran, who's a up and coming country singer, on my pod recently, and we were kind of talking about how the silence is deafening. And I think that like
Mm.
where you put so much of yourself and it's a lot. Like we just talked about some really personal stuff out here, putting our like our work out there and like people just like don't follow the pod or they won't like it, but they're like, oh yeah, I listened to it, or like they didn't share. And so it's like you put so much of yourself out there and then you get like nothing in return. And then
A crumb.
yeah, and then one day from what I'm hearing from my friends who are successful in the podcast space, it just goes, it like
Yeah.
works. But just like to
Yes.
keep on going and trusting the process. And that's for like for everyone who has a goal, not necessarily running marathons or podcasts or whatever, but just like it's it can connect to everything. So
Yeah.
I'm all about in the new year, trusting the process and like not letting the small shit just like get me down because it's why am I putting my effort in like things that aren't serving when I could put it in towards the podcast or my new man or whatever, you know? So that's what we are going to be
Yes.
doing in
Oh,
2026 and manifesting. I don't know, just be happy and just like find my person and like, have a job and just like, because my job is supporting the podcast, and I
yeah.
like to be with my friends and family. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And before we go to you, Maddie, um, the idea of like not feeling responsible for other people's reactions and the shit going on in their life, claiming that as well. Throw it to you, Maddie. And that when the
Oh.
Back to you.
Um,
Yeah, reporting live.
so Pretty live. Something that I really noticed from like a marriage ending and then being in a last relationship and just business in general is like this desire of like I need to feel chosen. And
oh,
that's
Hmm,
something I really want to like hone in on and really like that is like my anchor in life is like I can always choose myself and
oh,
will always, and I don't need saving because I think I felt like that for a long time, like I needed a guy to like save me. And this
yeah.
year, if anything taught me like I can do it all myself, I don't need someone to save me. And that's really empowering from like I never thought I could be in my own apartment. Like I didn't think that
Mm-hmm.
was like for me. Like no one in my family besides my sister for a few months ever lived on their own. Like my parents met each other when they were in college and then got married and had kids, And so it's just being able to do all this on my own is was like a big like it felt like a big risk for me. And so just
right.
really honing in on I will always choose myself first and I don't need saving. I am capable of making my own opportunities. I think it's just really honing in on that. Um I think another thing that I really like want to hone in on is that I I take a long time to make decisions because I'm very analytical. And so it's like I'm attacking it from every angle. I mean, it took me a year to bring up divorce with my ex-husband, a year before I even brought it up to him. And it took me honestly a long time in perspective for how long I was dating eBay Man to like fully realize, oh, this is not the relationship for me. So I think
Right.
seeing things that do not fit and making that decision like this is not going to work long term, whatever it is, relationship or not, and cutting it
Yeah.
off from that start because it's only going to drain you more. So I think being more cognizant of like knowing what is for me and making that decision faster is something I really want to hone in on because business and money, they love fast decisions. And I know more will open up for my life the faster that I do that.
Mm.
And I think for sure 2026, like I want to be putting myself out there even more than I was this year. I think I had spurts of doing that, like
Mm-hmm.
Right.
pre-relationship and then post-relationship now like that is really what I want to be doing just putting myself out there taking more chances and not being afraid of someone saying no and essentially
Mm-hmm.
saying no to you because that's how I've always received it. So I think
Right.
a lot of it is like knowing my value and like no one has to see it but I can see it and that's really really important to me for like 2026 and goal wise is
Love that.
seeing my family in Mexico because I only see them every so often. Doing a trip with my sister, which is really important. Making time to see you guys, that's really important. So really, those bonds, I think, is like
Mm.
2026 is like my year for that.
I love
That's
that.
amazing, and I will say I do have to add one more thing because I hearing you guys talk about this unlocked one like a piece of advice that I got earlier this year, and it actually was like one of the best advices I ever got because all three of us were like we're workaholics. We have dreams, we have everything, and I think that like, and a lot of our dreams are very different than what like our loved ones have
Yeah.
like in
Yeah.
their life. And my cousin told me one time when, because of course, like we all have different times in our life where we're like, what's going to happen with jobs or whatever,
Yeah.
and when it comes to like things like the pod, my cousin said to me, she says, don't look for advice from people that don't have the same like passion as
Yes.
That's
you. Because like for
yep.
instance, like yeah, like and it's like no shade or anything. It's like my parents, like for years, like
Yep.
I want to live in New York, I want to do this. Well, it's expensive to live there. It's like, well, yeah, no shit. But like
That's what my
or
Yeah.
like
parents said.
none of them like will ever be on TV or do something like a podcast because that's not their journey.
They
So
have
like
no
how are they, yeah,
desire.
like for me,
Yes.
like my sister's a teacher, like I'm not a teacher. I can't give you any advice on that. Like my view of that is like my view. So like don't
Yeah.
let someone that doesn't have the same like have the same trajectory as you dictate how you give your, you know,
Yeah,
life
that's
or whatever.
such a
Yeah.
great reminder, especially
Yep.
coming off of the holidays. Maybe you were at, you know, grandma and grandpa's house and your crazy ass uncle was saying some shit about these goals that you have. If they're not where you want to be, or if they do not have the same goals, that opinion, it ain't shit, mama. That does
It
not
ain't shit.
matter. And to wrap this up, I think the word of this episode was just intentionality in business, in life, in relationships, in the physical health, and challenging yourself. All of these things is just about being intentional. And that word is now going to be added to my 2026 vision board
Me
because
too.
it just encapsulates this. So where can the people find you? And is there a specific episode you want us to direct them to for your own podcast, Popcorner?
Oh God. Well, first of all, thank you again for having me. This was just like so great. I didn't realize how much I needed this this conversation.
Oh,
Like I feel like a weight has been lifted. I just feel like I was
Aw.
just been like so like running ragged. So this is like so apologies if when you're editing, Ellie, if you need to cut any of this, you totally can.
yeah.
I'm not
No, it was
offended.
great.
Um but yes, you can follow me at Matty Durkin. That's my personal account. So I mean, I cross use both of them, and then the Popcorner Pod, which is my Instagram and TikTok handle. Allie has been my TikTok inspiration for 2026. That's like something I'm like working on. But I've had so many great guests this year. Um,
Yeah.
very diverse. Talk about all things pop culture, but one of them is like one of my personal favorites. I know Allie, it's Allie's favorite of the year. And that was with Real Housewives of New Jersey star and one of a dear friend of mine, Margaret Josephs. It's my favorite and probably my best interview I've ever done. And I think that when we have housewives on, it's like very like business as usual. You talk about what's going on, this and that, but I think that we think we know these housewives so much because it's
Mm-hmm.
all about their life. But I think hearing how someone consumes pop culture, whether it's TV, movie, music, sports, life events, like says a lot about who they are. And like that's what
Yeah.
the whole conversation was all about with Margaret. So you guys should totally tune into that one because it was
Yeah,
really
we
cool.
will link
Yeah.
that one specifically below. And ladies, I know you know Real Housewives of New Jersey. Like this is a get of all get, and I'm just so proud of you that you were able to have that experience and interview her. That is amazing for you, and I want you to put on your vision board people that you are going to interview this year in 2026 and be
Thank you. Yeah.
delusional. Be delusional. Put all
Yep.
the people that
Yes.
you want. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Daddy
Will
Andy.
Daddy
Oh God,
Andy.
Daddy Andy, my king. Yeah, no.
Girl.
Talk about this is my last podcast thing I'm doing in 2025, and I could not think of a better thing to do. So,
Oh,
and
I'm
how
obsessed.
I feel about you both. So, everyone
Yes.
like, subscribe, 5-star review, give them all the love, and then give it to me too. But
Women supporting
Intentional.
women. And
Yeah.
with that,
yes,
we are going to wrap up. We'll let you go. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. This was amazing. And you guys
Thank
follow,
you.
follow, follow Matty Durkin and the Popcorner Pod. You can find that info below. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.